It was an object that belonged neither to that place nor to that time. The black leather cover, worn at the edges, seemed to absorb the dim basement light, keeping the secrets it held to itself. The stitching, once strong, was now yielding to the passage of decades. To anyone else, it would have been just trash, a forgotten diary of some teenager destined to join the debris of history. But to Arthur, the janitor who held it in his calloused hands, the object felt alive, pulsing with a long-dormant energy. He didn't know it yet, but he was holding a map to the soul of a fierce, misunderstood girl. A girl the world would come to know as Angelina Jolie. What was written on those pages were not just words. They were the seismic tremors that preceded one of the most fascinating and enigmatic lives of our time. And the journey to return this diary would lead him to a confrontation with his own past, and to a future he never could have imagined. Arthur Covington was a man sculpted by routine and silence. At 68, his movements were as predictable as the sunrise and sunset. For 40 years, he had been the head janitor at the prestigious Lee Strasberg Theater Institute in Los Angeles. He was not just an employee. He was part of the architecture, a silent witness to the ebb and flow of ambition that echoed through the marble hallways. He had seen hopefuls with fire in their eyes become Hollywood legends, and he had swept up the broken pieces of the dreams of so many others whose names were whispered once or twice before fading away forever. He vividly remembered his wife, Eleanor, sitting in the third row, her eyes shining as they watched a play. She loved the theater, the raw energy, the magic of transformation. "This place has a memory, Artie," she used to say, squeezing his hand. "Every great performance leaves an echo, a small piece of its soul behind." Now, years after her passing, Arthur felt he was the solitary curator of these echoes. To the new generation of students, however, he was invisible. They rushed past him, immersed in their cell phones and their own ambitions, never truly seeing the man who knew every loose floorboard on the stage, every old wine stain on the lobby carpet, every story of heartbreak the walls could tell. This invisibility, once a source of pain, had become a cloak of comfort. His home was a sanctuary of silence, a small apartment where every object told a story of his life with Eleanor. The worn armchair where she used to read, the collection of teacups she adored, the wilting plant on the windowsill he tried so hard to keep alive as a final link to her care. Loneliness was a constant companion, but it wasn't a bitter one. It was a gentle fog, full of bittersweet memories. He was a man who lived in the past until the past, in a way he never expected, decided to pay him a visit. The order from management had been clear. The basement, that labyrinth of forgotten storage rooms, needed to be cleared out for a renovation. It was a Tuesday night, the air heavy with the smell of dust, mold, and stagnant time. Arthur worked under the light of a single bare bulb, the sound of boxes being dragged echoing in the emptiness. It was while clearing a rusty metal locker, one that probably hadn't been opened since the 1990s, that his hand brushed against something wedged behind a loose panel. With a gentle pull, he freed it. The small black diary. His first inclination was pragmatic. Toss it in the large trash container. That was the procedure, but he hesitated. The weight in his hand, the feel of the soft leather under his calloused fingertips dot like a sacrilege. He imagined the young woman who had owned it. What was she feeling when she wrote on these pages? Where was she now? With a sigh, he tucked the small book into the inner pocket of his coat, feeling its outline against his chest for the rest of the night. It was a break in his routine, a small, silent rebellion. Back in his quiet sanctuary, Arthur made a cup of tea, sat in Eleanor's armchair, and under the warm light of a single lamp, he opened the diary. The handwriting was a storm on the page, slanted and full of dramatic flourishes. And the words hit him like a wave.
October 12th. He looked at me again today. My father. Not with pride, but with that familiar disappointment. It's a look I know better than my own reflection. He says I'm too dramatic. As if I can control the ocean inside of me. Sometimes I think I collect sharp things just to feel something different, something real in this world of make-believe.
Felt a chill. The raw pain of a misunderstood young woman was palpable. He continued to read, turning the pages with a reverent care.
November 3rd. They want me to be a perfect, polished doll. They want me to smile for the cameras and be grateful. They don't understand that some of us are born with cracks in our porcelain. Maybe the cracks are where the light gets in. Or maybe they're just where we break.
And then, amidst the anguish, a theme emerged that changed everything for Arthur. A fierce compassion. An anger directed not at herself, but at the injustices of the world.
December 1st, saw a news report today. Children in a refugee camp, their eyes older than mine will ever be. What is my pain compared to theirs? Acting feels so selfish. I want to do something real. I want to go there. I want to burn down the whole unjust world, or at least be a blanket for someone in it.
It was this passage that sealed the diary's fate. Arthur, a man who felt invisible, connected deeply with this girl who saw the world's invisible people. He read through the entire night until the last page. There, in a small pocket on the inside, back cover, he found a tiny, faded photo booth strip. 4 pictures of a young woman with full lips and defiant, intense eyes. Beneath the photos, a name was scrawled. Angelina Jolie. The name hung in the silent air of the apartment. Arthur looked at the movie star's picture and then at the photo of his Eleanor on the mantelpiece. 2 worlds colliding in his small living room. He walked to his kitchen table and stared at a pile of bills. The one from the hospital, the rent notice. He knew what the tabloids would pay for this. Hundreds of thousands, maybe more. A lifetime of financial security was there in that little black book. He could retire, travel, live without a single worry. It would only take one phone call, but the thought filled him with shame. It would be a betrayal. He had come to know. The girl in those pages, and selling her secrets, felt monstrous. It would be a violation of the very soul he had felt so connected to. Eleanor had always said, "Dignity is the one thing you own that no one can buy." He knew what he had to do. But how does one reach a star like Angelina Jolie? The following weeks were an exercise in frustration. He called agents who laughed at him. He sent emails to generic addresses that were never answered. He was treated like a delusional fan, an opportunist. But Arthur was persistent. He wrote a simple letter by hand. He asked for nothing. He simply wrote, "I am an old man who found something that belonged to an old soul, trapped inside a young girl. I believe she would want it back." He sent it to the address of her charitable foundation. And he waited. 2 weeks later, his phone rang. A calm, professional voice asked to confirm his identity. And then another voice came on the line. An unmistakable voice. The meeting was set not in a Hollywood office, but in a small, discreet art gallery she supported. Arthur arrived, nervous, clutching a cloth bag with a diary inside. She arrived without fanfare, with no entourage, just her. Angelina Jolie sat across from him, her famous intensity softened by a genuine vulnerability. He handed her the diary. She held it as if it were a ghost, tracing the cover with her fingers. Her eyes welled up with tears as she flipped through the pages. "I thought I'd lost this forever," she whispered. "Thank you. You have no idea what this means to me. This was ... a very lost part of myself." She looked him in the eye. "The world is full of people who would have sold this. Why didn't you?" Arthur thought for a moment and replied, with the honest simplicity that defined you, because it wouldn't have been right. It felt like I was protecting someone's daughter. And my wife, Eleanor, she always valued integrity above all else. Angelina smiled, a rare, genuine smile that transformed her face. Eleanor sounds like she was a wise woman. She didn't just thank him. She asked about his life, about Eleanor, about their dreams. He told her of their dream to visit the national parks out west. A week later, a package arrived at his door. Inside was a first-class travel itinerary, fully paid, for him to visit every park he had mentioned. But there was another envelope. Inside, a letter from her and a document. She had made a massive donation to his local public library to build a new children's wing. The dedication plaque would read, "In loving memory of Eleanor Covington, who believed every story deserves to be protected." Arthur didn't just get a reward. He received an act of profound personal kindness that honored his wife's memory and gave him a new chapter in his own life. On his trip, standing at the edge of the Grand Canyon, feeling the sun on his face, Arthur Covington no longer felt invisible. He felt like he was part of a much bigger story. Arthur's story shows us that true character isn't measured by what you can gain, but by what you choose to protect. He protected the secrets of a lost girl, and in doing so, rediscovered a part of his own soul. What would you have done with the diary? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you believe that small acts of integrity can lead to extraordinary outcomes, make sure you subscribe to Truth Unveiled and hit the bell so you never miss another hidden story.